Okay, tonight's treat is a view down from the downstream end of the gorge, Manawatu Gorge, looking towards the town of Ashhurst. So here's the river, here's Stone Bank, hills nearby, bank, trees and so on. So let's get underway with some sky, do you think? That seems like a good thing to start with. Immediately I've done something silly, which is to put water on a piece of land. So we'll dry that off a bit. And have a good blotch of blue on the brush here, and start applying it to the sky. What do we do next? Shall we concentrate on this tree down here in the bottom right hand corner, which is technically a difficult thing, because I want to produce it's very pale green. It's very tangled looking, which is not going to be that easy to do. So let's start out with some yellow. And what colour's on this paintbrush at the moment? It's behaving as though it's clean. Maybe there's a bit of green on it, that's alright. A bit of light pale green. So we'll just spread some water on this tree, and as I say, this brush happens to have some really rather pale green in it, which is kind of convenient. And I think what we'll do is to let that dry, with the idea being that I can then mask my tangled area there and put some darker paint over the top of it, and then retrieve the pale colour underneath at a later stage. So that's the plan for that area. So now we've got I don't know if it's grassy or covered in creeper, but there's a bank down here which is pretty much in shadow, very dark. So that almost certainly will dry far too light, so let's darken it a bit more. Don't want these diagonals to be too regular. I might see if I can convince them to generate a bit of texture by letting the paint run down. I'm using a very rough paper, so when the paint does run down, it tends to find the valleys in the paper. But, doesn't really seem to be using the right side or the wrong side. Using the right side. It doesn't seem to be precipitating to quite the extent that I was hoping. Never mind. Life is full of things that don't precipitate. It's a piece of philosophy that you can use repeatedly in your daily life. Trying to use the fact that the brush has got various bits of differently coloured paints in it to just give a little bit of variation to the feeling of those trees, bushes. So we don't want them all to be exactly the same as each other. Maybe the same species, but light catches them in different ways. It's wonders to perform. Okay, so let's give that a rest for the moment, and it feels as though it's almost dry enough to paint near to. So we'll take a punt, shall we, and try doing that. I've sometimes had some success in suggesting bushy hills by moving paint around with a credit card. So you see that it produces these forms that pick out the texture of the paper. Which doesn't seem to be working quite as I'd hoped. This is one of these techniques that I guess it's like gamblers having success the very first time they gamble and getting addicted to gambling thereafter. This worked out astonishingly well the first time I did it. I've never quite been able to reproduce the effect. Just not quite sure why. On this occasion, I feel as though there's too much blue underneath. But no, it's not such a terribly awful effect, is it? It's got a certain life to it. As I said in my last video, some of my smaller paintings seem to be very constrained, and I felt that I needed to become a little bit bolder, and this might be a way of doing that. Going up onto this shingle bank at some stage or another to sketch, and the wind was coming down the gorge, and I didn't particularly notice it at the time, but after having been there for a couple of hours and climbing back up the hill, I was chilled to the bone and could hardly move. It was quite, shall we say, it was quite interesting, because I was sort of marooned there. Possibly not the best idea from a safety position, I don't know, to be sitting down here or standing down here at the end of the gorge. If there'd been a rain squall on the other side of the gorge, I could have ended up being I don't know, caught by a rapidly rising river. I don't know how fast the Manawatu River rises when there's a rainstorm on the other side of the ranges. Our next task is to fill in the river. So while the camera's been turned off, again because of the battery going flat, I've covered that tree in masking fluid, so there's I don't know whether you can see the detail, but there's sort of pattern of leafy shapes on that area, and the idea is that I should be able to paint over that and retain this pale colour where the leaves are catching the light. So while I'm waiting for that to dry, I have to be very careful about doing that, because A, I don't want it on my brush. In fact, I managed to get some on this brush. I've no idea quite how, but if I get it on the brush and don't notice, it is liable to stay there forever and completely ruin one of my favourite brushes. So when that happened, I leapt to my feet in a fashion that doesn't happen very often, and washed it up onto a quick. We puts the paint on and we takes the paint off. So I'm kind of disappointed about the way this has turned out. All that texture that I was hoping for has gone. Possibly because it was in the areas that I covered over with darker paint, I don't know. And I'm going to have to wait for this masking fluid to dry, because as I say, I don't want to ruin one of my decent brushes, so I'll turn the camera off and we'll come back in 10 minutes or quarter of an hour or so. Okay, we're back again. I think this is dry enough now, and the next thing to do is to start adding slightly darker colour and try and avoid making it a whole lot darker all at once, especially if I'm going to put another layer of paint on top of it again. So let's just do that. So I think the idea is that we want to basically cover this entire area, and I'm painting in between the little bits of rubber latex that are sitting there, and just get rid of that little white edge there. And I think it's pretty clear now where the paint has been rejected by the rubber latex and where it has been accepted by the paper. And when I remove the rubber latex at the end of the painting, that colour will be revealed. So that's what I need to do at this point, and I'll allow it to dry, or else I'll get enthusiastic and take the heat gun to it, and then come back and do some more masking fluid, then some more paint, and we'll see how many layers I need to do, maybe only one more, I don't know, just in order to get some feeling of realisticness about that tree. At the moment it looks very very artificial, but we'll see if we can improve on it. Right, so here we go again. Another round of paint. So I've got now 2 lots of masking fluid on the tree, and adding some more darker colour to it. Then we can have a go at drying that off. And I think add one more layer of masking fluid, and this is kind of back to front because the paint that I'll be putting on next will be darker than the earlier layers, so it will be the furthest back, the deepest parts of the tree, furthest from view. So the masking fluid that I'm applying at the moment is going on top of the existing paint, but we're working further and further back into the structure of the tree. Get another pause while things dry. Okay, time for what I expect to be the last wash over the a tree in the bottom right hand corner. Right, we'll leave the tree at that. I may end up putting another wash once I've removed the masking fluid, because I think that it may just be possible that it won't blend all that well, but we'll see. It seems to be dry enough. No, I think I need to let it cool down just a little bit. Bit of breeze should help that to happen. So then the masking fluid gets removed by a bit of friction. Right, well, that's kind of achieved the result that I wanted, but far too sticky outy, whatever the right word is, ostentatious. So yes, as I thought before, I'm going to have to put a wash over it, but that's alright. We have the paint. Oh, actually we don't have the paint. There we go. It doesn't feel too bad. And as I said before, I was hoping for more texture in this section of grass, but I don't seem to have managed it. But no, I think we'll leave it at that point. So a view of the gorge, or perhaps it's a view from the gorge, looking down towards Ashhurst, downriver towards Ashhurst. There you go. And as usual, I'll take a photograph tomorrow in the daylight rather than by the artificial light that we've got at the moment, and get the colours a bit truer. Righto, see you next time.